Hello and welcome back everybody to a brand new FTB Infinity Expert Mode video. We are here. We're getting to a point in the pack here where there's only so much we can do, right? It's becoming a little bit more grindy, and that's perfectly fine. I'm actually quite happy with that. But I just wanted to kind of share a little bit of all of that. So we are progressing quite nicely. All of our processing and everything has been working great. There were a few ores and whatnot that weren't getting processed that I did manage to arrange and fix up. But yeah, so things are going pretty darn well. We ran out of cinnabar, so I did a quick fix for that. And now we should have all of our cinnabar coming to this spruce drawer here. As you can see, I just put an export bus. And that caused a little bit of a headache with some ferrous and some draconium and stuff. But that should be back on track. What else have I fixed? Oh, we had mithril as well. So we actually got a whole bunch of mana infused ore, which I am assuming you can pretty much only get in the nether. So pretty sweet stuff there. That'll allow us to get even more mana dust, which we're going to have to get into here pretty darn soon. But for right now, we have other issues. So one of the first things I wanted to bring up, Angel Ring. We can pretty much make this except for the thermostatic harness. And the main reason we can't make this is because of the Flugel Tiara from Botania. We need some Gaia Spirit. Everything else, including Elementium, we have, except for the Elementium and the Spirit. So this is definitely on the agenda. I do want to get this guy done. The other one that I'm really pushing towards is the creative energy cell here. And this guy's not too bad. The Lumium we can already do. I already have enough for the pellets of RTG. I believe I could almost make all of the quantum solar panels as well. I may need more Cenarium. I think that's the only thing. Well, let's get a little bit more of that going while I remember. Boom. There we go. I had some Cenarium pieces being run. I have a whole bunch of Iridium. There's no issues there. And for the most part, we have absolutely everything that we need for those. So the biggest hurdle on the creative energy cell for us is the enhanced Galgadorian block. Now, enhanced Galgadorian block is a pain, and the other one is the Draconic Flux. Now, Draconic Flux requires awakened Draconium. Awakened Draconium is something that we definitely need to get into soon as well. But for right now, let's take a look at the enhanced Galgadorian. Enhanced Galgadorian requires 9 Galgadorian metal, and each one of those requires a large lump of Galgador. Each large lump requires 9 small lumps, which requires this. Okay, the stabilized metal is not too bad. The block of diamond, not too bad either. Just a lot of diamonds. Glowstone we have. The Eye of Galgador is a little bit different. This is why we needed the gas tiers. For example, we need magma cream, which I don't think I actually have a ton of slime. Not really. I may actually need to start spawning some. I may do that. Now, even over at our king slime or our blue slime farm, oh, it's nighttime, we are pretty much out of slime balls, if I'm not mistaken, because most of our power production is relying on our culinary and our culinary and whatchamacallit, the reactant dynamos. So we really don't have any. We are completely out, to be honest. So that's a thing, right? Not a great thing either. So we don't really have slime balls, so we need to get that guy going for sure. We need to get We have blaze powder, no problem there. So let's get a spawner here. Yeah, skeleton, that'll work. So we need to get slime balls. We need to also get the fermented spider eye. And that guy is going to take a little bit of effort. Now the reason being is it requires spider eyes, which we have. But it also requires brown mushrooms, which we do not have. So I need to get going on some brown mushrooms. Now, I'm not sure exactly how I want to do the brown mushroom. There's a few different ways that we can do it. So we do have mushrooms right here in the brown form. Now, I can't make just mushroom spores out of this. There's a few different things that we can make, but not just brown spores of Agricraft. And I could travel around and find some and all that kind of stuff, but I'm not really too worried overall. So I think instead what we should do is let's see if we can get this thing to grow, I guess, and expand on itself. Now, the other thing that makes this complicated is there's not really any way to make mushrooms. Now, the brown mushroom spores, again, could be made into mushrooms, but there's not really a way to make mushrooms. That's it. So, let's see now. If we have an autonomous activator, and let's get a harvester from Mine Factory Reloaded. Boom. What do we got? Did I not ask for a whole bunch of machine frames to be made? 10? We don't have the gears. Okay. That's another thing that we should probably work on. Let's get a few of those being made up. Let me get a few things together here, and we'll go from there. Why did it not send the stuff over? Game? Autocraft? Oh, it's making the iron plates, that's why. Okay, so I got a few mushroom spores here, and I did happen to find some brown mushroom spores right in here. Awesome. So we have brown, V-shroom, white, and red, all of which we can plant. Now, the white only requires regular farmland, which is a bit of a shame. I was kind of hoping that it would all be the mycelium. Now, the mycelium I got from the sludge boiler that we set up a while back. So that's where I got mycelium from. So what we're going to be doing, by the way, welcome to the greenhouse. I've started adding a little bit more of a flair to it. We have these beautiful little garden walls type thing. I want to help eliminate some of the trampling that's been going on over here from slimes and whatnot while I'm offline. But we still need to do a lot of work out here, not only in witchery, but also on these farms. Now, let's, without further ado, get started on this mycelium guy. Now, I'm thinking that we will actually do it in this farthest corner right here, because, well, I know that it's empty underneath, for one, but for two, I think it's just a good spot. It's also kind of tucked away, which means that, you know, I won't have to look at it as much. I'm not a huge fan of the mycelium block, so any less that we have to deal with it, probably the better. And we can also keep it kind of self-contained over here. So those are the three reasons why I'm putting it over here. Boom. I don't know, that purple's just a little bit, I don't know. I've never been a huge fan of this block. I don't mind it, but yeah, not my favorite. 4. Okay, that's good. 3, 4. All right. Good stuff. Okay. So we're pretty much there. Almost done. Let me just fill in a little bit more of this. We obviously have a little bit of backfilling to do. So this spot here is going to be empty. That would normally be our water. Now, in this case, we don't need that to be our water. So instead, I believe we will just make it a regular old dirt block. Okay, good. Now, these are all micro blocks at the moment, so keep that in mind. But we're going to then have the harvester right here, like so. And that will then pipe into the underground right here. Okay, good. And then we can cover that back up again. So in here is going to be all of our mushroom farms. So let's get a whole bunch of sticks and get to producing the farms. So these guys are going to work for us in terms of getting us the mushrooms that we require. So here we go. Let's do right here. We need to start getting these guys actually up to a 10-10. So let me do a little bit of self-grinding here on the watering can and get these mushroom spores growing up. So, silly me, obviously, it needs to go in the dark. Mushrooms don't grow in daylight. That's fine. I caught myself before I got too far at least, so that's good. So I'm thinking let's just bulldoze out a little section over here for our mushroom farm instead. Now, where do I have power? I have power right here connecting to those guys. So maybe we'll even just punch it out this way. Oh boy. Okay. That is the water. Okay, good. And we'll punch this guy out as well. And we will set up this to be our mushroom area or a mushroom farm area. I think that would work quite nicely. So let me get the area all prepped and we'll go from there. Okay, so here we go. We are now in the dark, as you can see. Perfect use for our new night vision goggles that we have. And we can now start to set up and farm these mushrooms. As far as I'm aware anyways. So this guy now should be fertile and can grow. Beautiful. So a quick little watering can job. And we should be pretty much good to go right away. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to double at least the brown mushrooms for sure. And then we need to do some of the other ones as well. So without further ado, I'll be back when we have 10 seeds. Okay, so I've pretty much set up the... Oh god. That's dangerous. Just a little bit dangerous. Okay. We might need a magnum torch. Was not anticipating that. Okay, so anyways, I've prepped all of the brown ones here to be 10-10, and I've planted the V shroom and the red mushrooms, which we can always come back later to fandangle. We've set up the flux plated fluid duct. Now we just need to supply this with a provider pipe, just like so, and it should start working automatically here and pulling out mushrooms. Good. And now mushrooms should be going all to the default route, which they are. Beautiful. Okay, so the system is currently already working, which is perfect. Let's get some of these mushrooms back to the base. Now, again, I think what we should do out here, I'm starting to get a little bit sick and tired of some of the mobs spawning out by our greenhouse. And what I think we should do is we should look at a magnum torch from Extra Utilities. This guy, pretty straightforward. A little bit of bedrockium, some potion of regen 2, and healing 2. Potion of healing 2 and regen 2. Okay, do we have those? Strength, instant health 2. Good. And regen 2. Awesome. We have both. Okay. Let's make a few chandeliers. We need 5 of these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. And last but not least, to complete the magnum torch, we need bedrockium, which is Mox nuclear fuel. Now, for this guy, I am going to get my hazard suit out, just because it might cause a few problems. Alright, good. So 2 Mox nuclear fuel. That should give us our bedrockium that we require. So let's smelt those guys down. Boom, bedrockium. Let's go down to our processing and over to our QED. So slow with bedrockium. Okay, boom. Good. Got rid of that. And these guys like so. And this is going to make us our first magnum torch from extra utilities. Now, the cool thing about the magnum torch is the magnum torch basically disables spawns within a radius. So, for example, I don't think we have any in here at the moment, but if I place this guy down, say right about here, yeah, this will work great. That magnum torch, now no mobs will be able to spawn within 64 block radius of that torch. Pretty sweet, right? So you can have these dark areas like this with no issues at all. Perfect, right? So now, whenever we come out to the greenhouse, we shouldn't really be impacted by bad guys in the slightest, which should also aid quite a bit in the trampling problem that I was talking about earlier. So that makes that environment quite a bit more safe for us to venture out into more regularly, which makes me very, very happy. I should probably place down a few more magnum torches around the base and everything, but I guess all in due time for that. So let me clean up the inventory. I think we're pretty much there. And I'm going to double check where we're at time-wise on the video. And I'll be back with you. Okay, so we made it back to base, and I have the slime spawner in my hand. So let's head on back to our last millennia. We have a whole bunch of the Carmonite mob souls, which is fantastic. And instead of me making a whole nother spawner and all that kind of stuff, what I'm thinking is we will just take over the... that's skeleton. We'll take over the cultist one, just like so. We have a whole bunch of cultist mob souls anyways, so we can always just replace them whenever we so choose. Let's get this guy out of here, and let's jump on out because those are now active. That's not good. Well, you know what? For the time being, it should be fine. So let's go change this guy up to a slime spawner now. Now, this will provide us with the ability to spawn slimes and collect a whole bunch of slime balls. Now, ideally, you could also do this with the blue slime, and I did debate doing that, actually, because it would be quite nice, just saying. But I think just a regular old slime is going to do the job for us at this point in time. Good. Slime spawner. Very nice. Let's head on right back to the last millennia here and get this guy in place. Okay. Yeah. Turn on the fans. Let these guys die a little bit. Very good. And... okay. Place that down. Oh, of course. Of course I can't, hey? Okay. Alright. Bit of a situation here. Uh-huh. Okay, good. Alright, I think I got rid of most of the bad guys that I needed to. off the top of my head. Now, that was one of my concerns. You saw where that gas spawned. He kind of spawned more towards the middle, whereas the spike that I had up there was in association with the powered spawner being up higher. Now, yeah, that's a bit of a problem. Okay. I would have to agree. All right. So we may need to move that spike, or I may have to try the attractor obelisk again. Okay, good. Let's get this guy placed, please. And thank you. Come on. Come on. Oh, man. I just cannot quite get it placed. Alright. This is a bit of a problem. Okay, let's disable the fans. That might make it a little bit easier for us. We're going to do just a little minor hover and place it in the wrong spot. Okay, great. Okay, good. And let's do it over here this time. Just like so. Place it. Back up. Good. Alright. Okay, so this guy should now be operational yet again. We can place down our wire and turn this all back on. Get everything starting to die again before we get any backlogs. Now, like I said, that spike's proving to be a bit of a problem, so we will have to address that as well. But I want to make sure that the slimes are not going to be a problem. Any more than normal anyways. Okay, good. So let's turn this off. And let me move that spike. Alright, so it's definitely getting quite clogged up by the slimes, but that's okay. We could probably slow them down. I assume we're getting a decent amount of slime balls at this point in time. So we could probably just slow it down a little bit. Come on. Silly fans, man, I tell ya. Okay. We'll do that. We can hop on in. We can just take out the octadic capacitor, and that'll slow it down quite nicely. And as far as I know, everything, they will all die eventually. So if we just slow down the slimes a little bit, I think the spike is in the right place. It's doing the job. And I think for the most part, we are good to go. So, yeah, a little off on some of the gas. Some of the gas are coming right underneath the spike. Now, I'm hoping that eventually they'll just work their way up or down to one of those two spikes. They kind of hover a little bit, so that is my goal. I did try the attractor obelisk again. Perfect line of sight, you name it. Didn't make any difference whatsoever with these guys. So, apparently, they do not like going to the attractor obelisk. Now, maybe the corporeal one, the this guy here, the corporeal attractor from Thaumic Tinker will do the job, but I'm not positive. So I'll have to run a test with that, and I am in no way, shape, or form prepared to get going on that. But we should be getting a pretty substantial amount of slime balls. We've already gotten a mob soul for slime as well, which is fantastic. And so we're getting slime balls. We're getting mushrooms, up to 600 mushrooms already. Very good. Now we should be basically getting to the point of the Eye of Galgador. So we need to do a whole bunch of auto crafting for that. So one of the first things that we're going to need to auto craft, we have magma cream. Very good. So the Eye of Galgador then is also going to require an Eye of Ender auto crafted. Very good. The next step is going to be the fermented spider eye. Now, do I already have that one set up? I do. Okay, so we don't need to do that. That's good. Eye of Galgador is like so. Okay. And that guy auto-crafting as well. So that is just for the eyes. Oh boy, the eyes have it. Am I right? Okay. So Eye of Ender and Eye of Galgador. Okay. So now, let's take a quick look at the lump of Galgador. Lump of Galgador is going to require this stabilized metal, which requires this recipe. Now, I don't believe we have this guy set up for auto-crafting. We do not. Okay. So, let's work on that first. So, the stabilized metal is refined hardener, which is raw hardener. Boom. Now, I'm not sure if I have that one. Raw hardener. I do not see it. Okay, that's good. So, let's get some of that. And we're going to change this to 1 raw hardener equals 1 refined hardener. Is that right? Let me double check here. Refined hardener, 1 for 1. Perfect. So that is like so. So that guy will then go over here into this. 1 raw equals that. Good. And this guy into our crafting. Okay. Alright, we are cruising. Boom, just like that. There's our raw hardener. Okay, now for the next step is the hardened mesh. Is pretty straightforward. We can craft that guy up quite nicely. And that will then allow us to auto-craft up the stabilized metal. Alright, we are getting into pretty good shape here. So let's do that, that, and that. Alright, so the next step for the lump of Galgador, we're going to need a block of diamond, and then we should be good to go. So, I don't believe we have block of diamond set up. We do not. So let's get that guy first. Pretty straightforward recipe. And then we'll take one of those out and we will craft up 3 Eyes of Galgador. Boom. 1, 2, and 3. And that gives us our lumps of Galgador. Whew. Quite the recipe, right? God, I hope you guys know. Alright, so that'll be there and that there. Okay, so now the lump of Galgador. So, 1 lump of Galgador, we need enhanced. So we need enhanced Galgadorian metal, which is a large lump of Galgador, which requires lumps of Galgador. Okay, good. Then we need to get 7 more of these. And do we have it? We do. Okay, good. So that'll craft us up enough to get a large lump of Galgador crafted. 1 of you. Good. And then that way at least I can craft it. Then we're going to do a processing pattern of 1 of you equals the enhanced Galgadorian metal. Man, oh man, quite the procedure. So, 1 of this smelted, good, gives us 1 of these. Okay, 1 for 1, into the processing pattern we go, and we should now have the capabilities of basically crafting all of our Galgador minus some of the materials. So, the last but not least is the block, the enhanced block of Galgador. Boom. Done. Alright. Here we are. How sweet it is. So let's place that guy in there. So now we could go in here. We can select the enhanced Galgadorian block. And we can see all the materials required. And basically, so for each one, it's 353 diamonds. Wow. That's a lot of diamonds. I do not think we will have enough diamonds. Just saying. Just saying. But then we can basically just auto-craft an enhanced Galgadorian block. I hope you guys like this video. I know it's not exactly the way I normally used to do things, but it is something that we need to do. And as I said, some of this stuff at the end gets a little bit more grindy, a little bit more repeaty, and I don't want to try to repeat myself, but equally, sometimes I won't have enough time to have everything completely prepped and ready to go. So, I hope you guys understand. I hope you liked the video. Leave a like, subscribe. We are getting so much closer to the end game items. The creative energy cell, the angel ring, and all that stuff. So, without further ado, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.